Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, December the 7th. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We're entering the holiday season already, and I'm just very happy to have you here. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Maria Juarez. On behalf of Ms. Teresa and Dr. Epps, we welcome you to this session of the SHAC meeting. I would like to call Ms. Aurora Hurtado to the front for the prayer.
Thank you. It's wonderful seeing everyone here this morning, and if we'll just bow our heads, we'll go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you today just so thankful for this beautiful day that you've given us, Lord, and we come to you asking you, Lord, that for your guidance and for your wisdom, Lord, that you give us your guidance and wisdom today, Lord, as we begin our meeting this morning. We are just so thankful, Lord, just so very, very thankful for the leadership in our district. We are thankful for Dr. Epps and Ms. Rayner, Ms. Juarez, and Ms. Webb, Lord. And we also want to raise up our presenters, Lord, that we have this morning. They are just it's wonderful. They're going to be giving us and presenting us with wonderful information. And so we are most thankful for them. And we ask, Lord, in the name of Jesus, that you just bless the meal that that has been prepared for us today, Lord, for the benefit of our bodies, Lord. And we ask blessings for the people that prepared it for us, and we ask for those.
Sorry about that, guys. Thank you so much. As I was saying, please be aware that this meeting of the SHAC is being recorded. And now I call Ms. Teresa Rayner to the podium to introduce our speaker for today. Oh, I'm sorry. Back up. Let's have lunch. Please come join us. Please start getting in line so that you can get your plate, and as soon as we all sit, then we can introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Valle here from the Epilepsy Foundation, and she's the Self-Care Management Program Coordinator. So please give a round of applause to Ms. Maritza Valle. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Maritza Valle. Like Teresa said, I am the self-management coordinator here at Epilepsy Foundation, Texas. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's see if I can. So first, I would like to start off with some seizure statistics. Epilepsy is one of the oldest and one of the most common neurological diseases, affecting over 65 million people globally. That's a large number. Epilepsy is one of those diseases that is very hard to see until it's too late. And it's something that needs to be discussed a lot more. 1 in 26 people, that's a number that a lot of people refer to, 1 in 26. It's a hashtag that we even have for the foundation, that 1 in 26 people in the United States will be diagnosed with epilepsy during their lifetime. 3.4 million people in the United States have epilepsy, and the people that you work for, the children, over 470,000 children and youth in the United States have epilepsy. And then 1 million older adults aged 55 and plus in the United States have epilepsy. Here are some seizure facts. So most seizures are not medical emergencies, and I understand that could be a lot for some people to understand that, typically there are seizure action plans, or people might know them as SAP. So that means that there's typically an order that people follow whenever people have seizures, because they're very common, they happen a lot, so most of the time it's not medical emergencies. A person may not know they're even aware they're having a seizure. There are different kinds of seizures. Some seizures, the person may be having it and is aware, and sometimes there are seizures that people are not aware they're happening, some of them being called absence seizures, tonic-clonic seizure, formerly known as grandma seizures. And so that's some of the things I should know. And seizures are not contagious. I feel like that's probably a little scary for some kids, maybe the younger ones, when they see a seizure for the first time. They may be like, oh my God, that's a lot, and they may think, well, can I get it? This is something that is not contagious. And a person cannot swallow their tongue during the seizure. So I'm sure some of y'all have heard, put a wallet or a spoon in their mouth. Do not do that. It is impossible to swallow your tongue. So that's something to know, that you cannot swallow your tongue. And it's actually a concern if you try to put anything in your mouth, because when someone's having a seizure, they could and will bite you. Because like I said, whenever they're jerking, their body is stiff and they have no control sometimes about what happens. And epilepsy is a medical disease, and a person can die from a seizure if it's not well managed or if it's in an unsafe environment. Some background. So here is the founder of the Epilepsy Foundation of Texas. Her name is Donna Strault, and she opened it in 1983 after struggling to find resources for her son, who was diagnosed with epilepsy. So for her, this was really close to home. Her son had epilepsy for a long time, and she noticed that there wasn't that many resources for her son, so she decided to make the resource and become the resource for others. It was originally named the Epilepsy Foundation of Southeast Texas, and then changed in 2008 to the Epilepsy Foundation of Texas. If you'd like to learn more information, you can follow our website. So the goal of the Epilepsy Foundation of Texas is to lead the fight to overcome challenges of living with epilepsy and accelerate therapies to stop seizures, find cures, and save lives. And then we also accomplish these goals, and there are many ways. So some of them being that we have some summer camps, education resources, and I'll go more into detail in that in just a minute. So here are some challenges for individuals and families living with epilepsy. A lot of time there are some pretty gnarly side effects. When someone first started anti-seizure medication, there could be a lot of mood swings that people are unaware about until you're in it. Like I said, emotional and social disturbances once you start medication could happen, along with insurance, finances, and housing. Anti-seizure medication is not cheap, and it's very hard to get if you are not insured. And also, for more precisely, more directed towards the actual person with epilepsy, they might experience isolation, both at work. They also deal with the driving situation because, having seizures when you're driving is not safe for anyone, most importantly for themselves and also people on the road. And for children also playing, I've had a couple of kids that I've worked with that, they are scared to play with other people, or people are scared to play with them because of their seizures. They also experience stigma, discrimination, and fear because of their epilepsy. On the flip side, this also affects the caregiver, whether it be their parents, their grandparents, their siblings. It doesn't just affect the person that has epilepsy, but it also affects the people around them. So what does Epilepsy Foundation offer? So we offer epilepsy camps. We also offer a clinic that is available for people with epilepsy. We also provide epilepsy education, kind of what I'm doing right now. We also offer support groups for both the person with epilepsy and their caregiver, so parents, whoever that may be. And then a new thing that we've started doing is self-management, which is what I offer. That's my main role in the foundation. And then also seizure first aid certification. I'll go into more detail in just a minute about those. So first, epilepsy camps. So we do 2 major camps, and I actually have right here the dates for them for this coming summer. So Camp Spica Wave, that is specifically for ages 8 through 14, and we go to Camp for All, and that's where in Texas is, in Burton, Texas, I think how you say, and then the dates are June 19th and June 14th. And like I said, this is something very specific for Epilepsy Foundation. Not a lot of times we're able to offer this. It is completely free for the kiddos and their families. We do not charge anything for these camps. We do only offer these for people that have a primary diagnosis of epilepsy. On the flip side, we also have Camp Kaleidoscope, which is for ages 15 through 19. We just started at a new location called Morgan's Wonderland Camp, which is amazing. It is in San Antonio, Texas. But one of the great things about this camp specifically, it is very accessible for anybody. So whether in your wheelchair, have additional diagnosis, there's a rope course, there's rock walls, you can ride horses. There's a lot of things that really are geared towards the kiddos we serve and stuff like that. And we also offer opportunities for volunteering. We do offer volunteer hours/service hours for anyone that's interested. And if you are interested, just please contact the person on this information, or you can talk to me. And here are some wonderful pictures from the camps that we've had. As you can see, there's a lot of smiling faces. It's a really great experience for the kiddo. It's a really great experience for the volunteers. And if you want to know information, please reach out. So self-management, this is my specialty. So self-management it's hard to explain to be quite honest, but in a nutshell, what self-management does is that it provides a group for people with epilepsy. And these courses right here that I'm going to go into detail have their own specialty. So the first one is Project Uplift, which is there to improve mental health in epilepsy patients with mindfulness and cognitive behavioral techniques. So for all of these, it's all virtual. This is completely Zoom-based, and we meet primarily about once a week for about an hour, and we go into each detail, techniques in each program. So for Uplift, we mostly focus on mental health because people with epilepsy have a higher tendency of struggling with mental health issues. And so there's also Hopscotch, which focuses on memory and attention in adults with epilepsy, and that one is 1-to-1, and I have more information to that if you want to know more about that. PACES is to elevate well-being for adults with active seizures. eSmart, it's a fairly new program. eSmart is which stands for Epilepsy Self-Management Advocacy and Resilience for Teens. This one is specifically for teens ranging from 13 to 17. All the other ones I had mentioned above are all for adults with epilepsy, but eSmart is specifically geared towards teens. So if you have any teens that have epilepsy, you can sign them up to do this if this is something you're interested in them doing. And here are some of the programs. As I said, Uplift, which is about mindfulness and cognitive behavioral techniques. PACES is a good one for people that are transitioning. So like if you have any graduating high school students that are becoming adults and are learning how to go to the doctor on their own, PACES would be a great start for them. And then Hopscotch, like I said, is more memory-based, one-to-one with me. And then right here at the top left, your top right, is eSmart. So at the end of the sessions, we actually created vision boards. I know it's kind of hard to see, but that's the artwork that the participants made based off their experience with eSmart. And then at the bottom left was PACES. I have information over there in the back if you're interested in taking some information for your students. So now to focus on to the epilepsy clinic. The clinic goal is to ensure that all Texans living with epilepsy have access to safe, quality, and timely medical care for the treatment and their seizures, regardless of income. So one of the great things about our clinic is that we take in anybody, and you don't have to have insurance. We do what we can to make sure that you get your medication completely free so that, they get the treatment that they deserve, because it is very hard whenever you don't have medical insurance to get these medications, because it is necessary for them to have it. We have clinics in Amarillo, Beaumont, Fort Worth, Grapevine, Houston, Lubbock, and Lufkin. So those are the areas we are responsible for. So if you want to know more information about the clinic in Houston, please reach out to me. And there's also the website in the bottom. So just a little bit more information on treatment options for people with epilepsy. Obviously, there's medication, and there's also devices called VNS, RNS, and DBS. I would be lying if I said I know what those stand for, but in a synopsis, there are the two ones that I know are VNS and DBS. The VNS is, I don't know if you have ever seen anybody that has this, but it's a metal device that's on their chest area, and they have a magnet that they scan, and it helps them whenever they are feeling a seizure coming on. And I have pictures of what that looks like in a minute. And then the RNS is a natural implant in the brain that helps capture seizures when they're happening. And then obviously diet is a big one. Some people go on keto diets to help with seizures. What they eat affects how their seizures are affecting them. And then also there are surgeries, and then CBD oils is something that people also take. This is the picture of the RNS, and then on the top right is the VNS, and then the magnet is the one that is what you scan on the chest. So another thing to know is Sam's Law. So Sam's Law was introduced by Representative Travis and requires all Texas public schools personnel whose duties include regular contact with students to be trained in seizure recognition and seizure first aid, which is one of the reasons why Teresa reached out to the Epilepsy Foundation, because it is a requirement for public schools in Texas to be trained in how to provide seizure first aid. And that is something that we plan on continuing to do. And if you want to know more information about Sam's Law, please visit the website at the bottom. Educational resources. So this is another specialty of ours. We do seizure first aid certification, and is completely free and offered regularly online. So in the back, we also have a QR code for virtual seizure first aid trainings, if you're interested in doing that. Myself or Suzanne Thomas will probably provide that training for you guys. But you could also do it on your own. There is a website that you could do, and you can do it on your own time. But the virtual training, in my personal opinion, is probably better, just because you actually get to have that interaction with people. As I said, the EFTX website also offers research about children and seizures, seizure first-hand posters, SUDEP, which is sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, seizure action plan, also known as SAP, and treatment options and medication schedules. There's a lot of good stuff that you could also download and have in your classroom, or the nurses can have in their clinics if you want to know more information. And finally, if you want to know more information about the clinics or anything about Epilepsy Foundation, here is our contact information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maritza. Yes, so our district, we follow Sam's Law, and so it's a state law from Texas, and all of our teachers and transportation, cafeteria workers. It states anyone that comes in contact with the student during the school day is to be trained. So we're training all of our employees and making sure that everyone's safe and knows what to do during that time. So we have our next guest speaker. We have Chief Martin Wenzel from the district station number 12. I believe it's Cloverleaf. It's the Cloverleaf station, and he's going to talk to us about fire safety. So please give a warm welcome to Chief Martin Wenzel. Thank you. Would you want to talk from here?
Yes, thank you all for having us out today. First off, I'd like to apologize. I'm not quite as techy as the last visitor you had. But I do like to give you something that you can take with you. So each of you should have a handout. There are some extras that Ms. Rayner has if you'd like another copy. We're going to talk about turkey fires. We'll talk a little bit about space heaters and smoke detectors today. I've tried to go through and put together some tips for each category. We'll start out with turkey fires. There's 14 tips I've came up with when you're using a turkey fryer. And I know Thanksgiving's passed. A lot of people, they fry turkeys over Thanksgiving. They may do it again for Christmas. Just to give you a little bit of statistical background on those. 22% of turkey fryer fires occur from misuse of the fryer itself. We have an average of approximately 60 injuries per year from turkey fryers. They're also the leading cause of cooking fires for Thanksgiving Day. With that, we say an average of 60 people get injured. They say an average of 5 people a year die from frying turkeys. Okay? And then damages, costs from home repairs and such as that from the fires ranging around $15,000. Just as a baseline. They can go up, they can be down. But with that said, a lot of times what happens is people will fry their turkey in the garage, or occasionally somebody will want to set up a fryer in the kitchen. It needs to be set up outside, away from the structure. But we'll start off, keep outdoor fires off decks, out of the garages, and a safe distance away from trees and other structures. Recommended approximately 10 feet away from any type of structure. Make sure that the turkey is completely thawed. Very important before you start to fry that turkey. The ice, the water that's contained in that frozen bird, when you go to put it down in there, it's going to cause a reaction with that hot grease, and it's going to basically act like it's boiling. It's going to splatter everywhere. And that can cause a fire. So make sure it's completely thawed, and you might take a paper towel and pat it down to make sure it's as dry as possible before you go into the hot oil. You want to place your fryer on level surface to avoid any moving once it's started or once it's in use. Make sure you've got a minimum of 2 feet between your propane or whatever type of fuel that you're using and the fryer. Most of your commercial hoses are 2 feet. It's going to keep you plenty away. Follow your manufacturer's instructions. You want to avoid overfilling that pot. There's a certain way to figure out how much oil you need to use in that pot, and it's used with water. You put your water in there, you submerge your bird, and there's a line usually on the pot to tell you how deep to keep the oil. That's another method to try to keep it from overflowing and causing a fire or even burns. You want to choose a smaller turkey when frying. Usually an 8 to 10 pound turkey is ideal size when we're talking about frying a turkey. When you get into the bigger turkeys, a lot of times the pots aren't designed or big enough for those turkeys, and we end up having an overflow in the fire. Never leave it unattended. Somebody needs to be with it at all times. It's a good idea to purchase a fryer with the temperature controls, which automatically tells you the oil temperature. When you're cooking oil, is it heated beyond and starts to smoke? It can catch fire. If you notice oil is smoking, it's a good idea to go ahead and turn it off and let it cool back down. Peanut oil is used mostly with fryers because it has a higher ignition temperature. It's not going to smoke as quick. So the type of oil you use is very important at that same token. Something that I'm guilty of, because I like frying turkeys, and until I got to do the research on this, really didn't think it didn't click. But before you put your turkey in that hot oil, turn your burner off. You take that flame away, if something does happen, you've missed a step, and you go in that hot oil with that turkey, it may boil over because of the water, it may still be a little frozen, but without that flame, it's not going to cause a big fireball, it's not going to catch fire, it's not going to, you run the risk of having a burn, but you're not going to damage the property around it. You're not going to burn yourself as far as with flames. You may not catch your house or anything like that on fire. So it's something that I never really thought about until I started doing the research for this, is turn the burner off. Once you've got it in, turn it back on. You want to wear goggles and shields for your eyes, oven mitts, things to protect you, long sleeves, because that oil's hot. If you cook anything around the stove, the popping oil, it does hurt. Always keep children and pets away from the fire. And once you're finished, you want to carefully remove that pot and set it on a flat surface. Don't leave it on the burner. I want to say it's a trip hazard, but think about it, it's elevated. Somebody comes through and bumps it and knocks it off, we've got a bigger problem. So set it off on the flat ground, cover it, turn all your flame and everything off, and let it cool for 24 hours before you dispose or try to recycle that oil. Turkey, some people argue that fried turkey is one of the best turkeys you'll ever eat. Be mindful when you're using it and just follow some basic common sense and precautions. Pay attention to what you're doing around them. Space heaters. On average, we get fires caused by portable heaters or space heaters cause 65 deaths and about 150 injuries a year. That's straight out. That's said from Ms. Morrell, the administrator of the United States Fire Administration. So we've got 6 factors from the United States Fire Administration that they would like you to take into consideration for space heaters. One is keep it at least 3 feet from anything flammable. This is the leading cause of space heaters igniting fires or placing them too close to objects on the floor, whether it's furniture, curtains, clothing, bedspreads. The heat source is when it's placed that close, it's likely to cause ignition. It's important to keep space heater on a flat, stable surface. Don't leave it unattended. It only makes sense that you're going to heat as long as you want to have it on as long as it's cold out. You want to walk away from it and keep that room nice and toasty. But think about it this way. It's a big risk. If we were going to leave a lit candle, in school, especially in the classrooms, they tell them no candles, they don't want a possibility of a fire. Same thing applies. If you walk away from it, you want to shut it down. They've got a lot of safety factors built into them, but there is that risk that something could happen when you're not there and cause that heater to catch on fire. Keep it out of reach of children and pets. Children, keep it out on an elevated surface. Protect that heater. If you've ever had a cat and you know that there's a few places where they can't get to, in homes with cats, they're quite acrobatic at times. Okay, you might consider shielding it somehow with something that's not flammable, but there's still a lot of ventilation to come through. Because a cat, even a dog, if it's sitting on the floor, they could knock it over. If the safety features on those heaters are not working properly, it's going to sit there with it on and it could cause a fire. Plug it directly into the outlet on the wall. Try to avoid extension cords. We think surge protectors are good, but not all surge protectors are designed for that type of a load or the amount of electricity that it's pulling off that heater. It can cause problems. They can short out and start a fire there, and it's because of the heater, but not actually the heater failing. Make sure that you have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms. If you're going to be running those heaters, we tell people every day, check your smoke detectors. We want to check them at least twice a year. We usually, as a general rule, tell you to check them when the time change. That may be changing. We may not have time change in the future. There's been legislation put forth several times to try to do away with the time change. So we'll have to figure out something else to gauge when we do our batteries and check them. It's a good idea to check the smoke detectors once a month by just going up and pushing the button. Same thing with the carbon monoxide detectors. Check the batteries twice a year. Carbon monoxide with the CO detectors. It's a colorless, odorless gas. So when we get called out for a carbon monoxide detector going off, or we have carbon monoxide in our home, we're going to go out and we'll check it with a gas monitor. We're going to check and actually look for 4 different gases. A lot of times it's something that, well, we can smell it. If you can smell it, it's not carbon monoxide. It may be gas, it may be something that's displacing the oxygen, but it's not necessarily CO. But anytime you have a detector activation, call 911, get somebody out there to check it. Go ahead and open the windows, the doorway, let it breathe a little bit, but do not stay in that structure. Carbon monoxide can be a big concern in the winter months because people that don't have central heat and air. They're using the ovens, running cars, bring the grills into the home, especially in Cloverleaf area. We've got a lot of poverty, low income. It happens, and that's a prime cause for CO because it's put off when you're burning gas or wood. So we're going to watch that. It's dangerous. Just don't do that. Don't sit in your car with it running. Don't bring that stuff in, and don't use your oven for heating. Most of us probably have at one point in time. Look out for signs for malfunctioning in these small space heaters. There's a lot of safety features built into the new ones. A lot of them you pick up, you even pull them off the floor, and they're going to shut off. A lot of them will not reset till you unplug it and plug it back in. The problem is we have a lot of older heaters out there, and we don't know where they're at. Some of those newer models may have failed. They still heat, but that safety feature may not be there. So it ties back into paying attention to them, keeping them up safe from kids and pets, and trying not to put anything closer than about 3 feet from them. Okay. I know it ties into the heating, but I've got in here to kind of touch on this also. We're talking about those of us that have gas heaters. There's still some of those out there floating around, or even furnaces. When you look at the color of the flame on gas heaters, if it's a blue flame, it's a normal flame. That's the color you want it to be. You want it to be burning blue and clean. If it's any other color, orange flame, it means that it's not properly working and you probably should have it serviced. It's not burning efficiently. It means it's going to be putting off carbon monoxide. So you're going to be pay very close attention to that. And we all want to stay warm through the winter. It's an important safety factor for ourselves as far as a comfort factor for us also. Take precautions, use them properly, and it can be an added layer of comfort. But knowing if you're not using them properly, it can be an added accident waiting to happen. And last part of that, talking about the smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, ties into the smoke detectors, or some people would say smoke alarms. We want you to install smoke detectors to help protect your home and family. Fire's a deadly threat. It's our first line. We're not there every day. We rely heavily on those smoke detectors, and they do work. They do work to get people out, so we have less casualties. Placement of smoke detectors is very important. Follow your manufacturer's guidelines if you have to purchase any and put any in. Big concern or thought should be when you're putting them in, one on the outside or right inside the door of every bedroom, one in the common room. Don't put one right in your kitchen. You can put one outside the kitchen, but the problem with the one in the kitchen, if it goes off too much, you'll end up pulling the battery from it, then it's useless, okay? When you're mounting them, you don't want to be any closer than 12 inches on the wall. So from the ceiling height down, you would be 12 inches or 12 inches away from the wall. The problem is with placing it up in that corner area, it actually creates a void. As the smoke comes up, it banks and rolls away from the detector. So they've proven it's about 12 inches as high as you can get before you get in the void where you could have a fire in your room and the detector would never go off. So follow those manufacturer guidelines. Keep it lower. Pay attention how you're doing that. Eventually it will go off. But if you've got it mounted in the wrong place, it's going to take longer, and the whole house or whole room is going to have to fill up with smoke before it will alert you, and by then it may be too late if you were asleep. Maintain the smoke detectors, help ensure that they're functioning properly. Once a month, go through and hit your button. That's checking your battery. Change your batteries twice a year. You want to choose the right detector for your needs. If you have gas in your home, you're going to want at least one CO detector, or carbon monoxide detector. Excuse me. Other types of detectors, you've got battery operated, you've got hardwire with a battery backup. Most of you are hardwired. If one goes off, they're all going to go off. If it's battery only, that detector itself is going to go off because it's not linked in with the others. Now, let's say you have the hardwired with battery, which most of us do if we have a home that's manufactured anytime recently. You have one that has a low battery that's chirping. Guess what? They're all going to chirp. Okay, now we have to go through and try to figure it out. And we don't mind coming out and helping with that. If you need help with that, just call us. We'll come out and see if we can't help you figure it out. Usually those detectors are usually going to have a red light that's flashing on the one that's affected. But bear in mind, let me just go through one at a time and check your batteries and change it out. If it's been over 6 months, it's a good idea to go ahead and change all of them. Speaking of that with your smoke detectors, there's a suggested by manufacturer to replace them every 5 to 10 years. Okay, depending on the brand. Most of them are 10, but there are a few out there that are 5 years. Follow that. Check your detectors. On the back side of your detector, when you take it down, it's going to have a manufacturer date. Some of them will actually have an expiration date on them. It's advised to go ahead and replace those detectors if you come across that. Because what happens is, if, let's say it's working properly, you get a fire in your house and it doesn't work, well, of course, you know, in today's society, it's somebody's going to sue somebody. Somebody wants retribution. Well, guess what? That detector's over 10 years old, or that detector's over 5 years old, your manufacturer suggested it be replaced for them. They're not going to say it failed on their fault. They suggested you replace it. So it's just a good idea. If they're over 10 years, go ahead and replace them. You don't have to replace them all at once. You can usually take and go through inside a month or two and replace one or two at a time. Some of these new ones can be quite expensive. The battery-operated ones are still fairly reasonable, $20 or less. But you get into some of the hardwire ones, and yes, they can get up there around $50 or $60. They're a little bit more. But they work. I can't tell you enough that they work. Have a plan. Be prepared if a fire detector goes off. What are you going to do? Call 911, gather everybody up if you can and get them out. Don't go back in. Biggest problem we have there is people going back in for pets, for purses, wallets, guns, their personal belongings they just can't live without. Stay outside. Let us get there and let's check it out. Hopefully it's nothing and we can get you back in quickly. And we'll do our best to get you in as quick as we can. But realize if there is a fire there, when the fire department shows up, we're going to take control of the scene and we're going to attempt, the key word there is attempt, because we try to organize chaos. Fire is nothing more than chaos. And we're trying to get it under control and stopping it from further causing damage. Once we've done that, there may be an investigator from Harris County comes out and checks. It depends on if we can find the cause or if we need to send somebody, have to come out and actually investigate it. We'll have them come out. But once all that's done, we will turn your property back over to you, and we will give you information on different resources that may help you if you have a home fire. When the Red Cross, Salvation Army, there's different programs out there that do help. Depending on the severity of the fire, Red Cross will actually go ahead and put you up that night. But they're going to call and do some verification with the fire department prior to doing that. But they can go ahead and get you help started to begin with. If it's a small fire, there's things that they may be able to help you with in a couple of days. You may not need the help right away. But we're going to do our best to get that information to you and get you in contact with them. It's a very bad day for everybody involved. We know it. We're there for the community. We'll do everything we can to help y'all. We just need y'all to call us and let us know that you need help. We thank y'all for coming in and letting me give you this presentation today. If there's any questions, by all means, my contact information is on the top. Give me a call, and we'll do our best to answer those questions for you. Thank you.
Okay, and now we're just going to thank Chief Wenzel and Ms. Baye very much. Please get you a lunch before you go. Thank you. We do have some new business. I did want to make sure that everyone signed the sign-in sheets on the edge of the tables. And just thank you again all for coming. And I know Dr. Epps has some exciting news for our school-based clinics, one of our new additions. And so I'm going to let her speak right now.
Yes, I do apologize. I didn't bring the little card, so forgive me for that. I'll make sure we have them next time. But on last Tuesday, I believe it was, we had the pleasure of hosting our grand opening celebration for our Legacy Dental Clinic services at, yes, at the Almetha Clark Taylor Health Clinic. That is a joint venture between Galena Park ISD and Legacy. And so we took our very first patient at 3 o'clock on last Tuesday. And so we are super excited. And just in case you ask, well, I bet they don't do that much dental stuff. Well, first of all, we have a full-time dentist who is there Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. They do dental exams, extractions, fillings, sealants, all the pediatric dental stuff that happens at a normal clinic is what is happening for us at that clinic. And the beauty, and this is just the icing on the cake for me, they are open year-round. Yes. They are open during the school holiday break, so when we're out, they're still open, and during the summer months. They, of course, those of you may not know, Legacy provides us with medical and behavioral health services as well, but those services are only available during the time that school is open. But dental is open year-round, and we are so super excited to be able to offer that service. They do take all types of insurance, but they also have payment plans if you don't have insurance or uninsured, and then no child is ever turned away for an inability to pay. So we're extremely, I just don't know what else we could give or do. But of course, we're going to find something. But we're very excited. Our board members were there with us on last week, and some of our community members. And it's just one more thing in the community that we're very proud to say that we have literally only here in Galena Park ISD. So thank you to Legacy. We're going to have them come as well at some point throughout the year just to talk to you all and let you know about all of the other amazing things they're doing. But the newest thing is that they do have dental care, and I don't think we realize sometimes how important dental care is, especially at a very, very young age. And so many children who live in poverty don't take advantage of dental care because their parents just don't know. And, just think about when your tooth hurts. You can't function on nothing, right? Your mind is on nothing. And so the fact that we will have that now right here in our community for all, and let me say this, is also open to every single one of our students and their siblings, if I didn't mention that. So every student through the age, I believe, of 21 for the dental services and through the age of 18 or 19 for their siblings. So I don't know what else we could do, but we're going to keep trying. But thank you so much. And yes. The location is at the Almetha Clark Taylor Clinic, and that clinic is right across the street from Cloverleaf Elementary. And we had a beautiful grand opening, so we're super duper excited about that, and we'll be pushing it out to all of our campuses and making sure we get the word out so parents can take advantage of that opportunity. All right, thank you. Our superintendent just walked in the room, so let me at least say hello. Now your job means we have to acknowledge you, so just stand and at least let them see you. I've been trained well, so I just want them to at least see your face and know I know they probably all know who you are, but just in case you don't. And they blessed us on yesterday, so let me make sure I thank him and Ms. Sherrard here in the room. Thank you all so much to our board members. Thank you.
Part of your package in your folder are the minutes. If you can take a few minutes, 1 or 2, to review it. Let me know if you see any changes. If not, then I'll ask one of you to approve the minutes. And can I have a second? Your name? Lawrence Simmons. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Just want to announce our next meeting. It's going to be February 15th, the day after Valentine's, at 11:30. That will be a lunch. And also put it in your calendar for our April 4th meeting. Don't forget, so that you can join us in our last two meetings that we have left to go.
And we have some door prizes today. Did anyone not get a ticket? And we also have Spanish from the fire chief. You need a Spanish version? Is there anyone that needs Spanish?
And let me just tell you real quick about the door prizes that we have. We try to be creative and useful what we present you with. So, with respect to our presentation that we had earlier today on fire safety, one of the gifts that we have is a smoke detector. Okay, hopefully it's not the one that's going to chirp all night, but smoke detector. But this is really neat. This is a smoke blanket. Okay, it's a fire blanket. And if you're like me, if a fire broke out in my kitchen, I probably couldn't find a fire extinguisher and wouldn't know what to do with it. Well, this is a fire blanket, and they use these as well in our school chemistry labs. And you literally there's no expiration date on it. You literally take it and throw it over any type of fire. Because sometimes the fire extinguishers are only for certain types of fires, but this fire blanket is a white blanket inside the packet, and you literally, if there happens to be a fire breakout in your home, you take it and put it over the fire. They're also really good for your automobiles. Put one in your car, so let's say if you're driving and for whatever reason something catches on fire, you can use it that way as well. So we thought that was a pretty neat idea. Thank you, Teresa, for that idea. So we're really excited, and we're going to give away some of those today and a couple of fire detectors. So thank you. And I have no choice in who wins, so don't look at me.
Thank you.
First winner, 8349949.
Yay! Okay, our next is the last 49962. 9962, the last four. Yay!
The last four are 9950.
4452. Or 9952. Sorry. I misread it. 9952. Yay! I said upside down. That would be me.
9964.
Yay!
9945.
Yay!
9953. And our last one, 9948.
All right. Before we let you go, I want to remind you that there's an evaluation form that if you scan it, fill it out, and grade us, but also give us any comments, any suggestions for our future meetings. We welcome them, okay? If you have any ideas on what you want to hear or learn, then we would like to hear from you, okay? I appreciate you on behalf of Dr. Epps and Teresa and myself. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I can't believe I'm saying those words. Time flies by so fast, but we are so happy to see you. Please come and join us in our next two meetings.
Yes, we have our counselor here from the ninth grade Galena Park High School ninth grade campus. So thank you. And so if you come again or have some friends that you bring that need translation, we do have a translator here. We always have one, but we have our counselors now. So thank you very much. And we want to thank these beautiful ladies for serving us today and for wrapping up all the cute gifts. And make sure you get the little box on the table, decorated box. It's brownie and candy and lots of goodies in there. So thank you very much for coming, and have a great week, and Merry Christmas.